Couldn't
Yeah,
tell
that
you.
portal's looking nice, boy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. He might go to Coach Prime next week. I have no clue. So
speaking of that, I want to get into that, man. Where is that one, man? Here it is. Here it is.
Yeah.
Here it is. Are you ready to say they're going to be over 500? This is your last chance, Mike. This is your last chance.
No.
You don't believe that. You don't believe that.
Do you believe? Do you believe?
Let's go to Colorado's schedule, man. Let's look at this right now.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
Because TCU,
I have explanations for why I think so, but we can break it down. That's fine.
Nebraska, they're gonna win. Colorado State, they're gonna win. Oregon, USC, they're gonna win. That one's iffy though. I wouldn't bet on it. They're gonna win the rest of the season after that. Utah might give them trouble. I don't think Utah wants to see Travis Hunter.
All right. So let me break this down for you. Let me explain to you why I think Colorado goes 4-8. All right. And I have adjusted Colorado up from my 3 wins that I thought they were going to get. I bumped them up another win because they got one already.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Okay. When you break down that TCU stat line, really what separated those two teams on that competition was 2 turnovers. There were 2 red zone turnovers. Okay. One of which, obviously, Travis Hunter gets the interception on the pass out to the flat route, and then Chandler Morris throws a very ill-advised pass, and he makes a great athletic play, snags that, takes the momentum out of that drive, which is a huge killer. And then there was one prior to that, was actually a Colorado returning starter, one of the 3 Colorado returning starters from last year.
Number 43.
Number 43, yeah. And I'm blanking on his name because, again, all it is Sanders, and Hunter. So, even though they have a bunch of players all over the place. But once again, here's the deal with that. 260 rushing yards still given up by Colorado in that contest, right? And there were times where TCU was flat dominating and controlling in that run game. And for whatever reason, offensive coordinator Kendall Briles, who came over from Arkansas, he was again with KJ Jefferson last year, for whatever reason, he decided to get away from that and start chucking the ball a little bit more. And it was kind of head scratching. And once again, head scratching that you were trying that side of the field with Travis Hunter. So again, I think there were some miscues that definitely cost TCU at certain times, right? Here's the thing also with Colorado, when you bring in 68 new scholarship players onto the roster, it's again, not the same team that it was last year at all. So like there's a lot. What's up?
You can't even watch film.
You can't. No, it's a total question mark, right? It's a complete question mark. You have to go back and look at Kent State film because that is the OC at Colorado now. He was the head coach at Kent State last year, which they run that veer and shoot style offense, sort of that Tennessee runs, but with a little bit of I saw some wrinkles in that one as well as I was watching this one go down. They could not run the ball. Okay. So that's the basis of the veer and shoot. They did not do
they had 510 passing yards and 45 rushing yards.
Yes. And I think it was 2.8 yards per rush attempt. And then I think it's 1.9 when you adjust with sacks. So here's my thing. There are going to be games. There's going to be situations where Colorado is going to have to run the ball. The fact that they could not run the ball on a 3-3-5 stack defense against TCU that did not tackle well or consistently at all in that competition. I mean, they look like ass crap when they went up to go make a tackle. Only 3 returning starters on that defensive unit, and the 3-3-5 is friendly for being able to run it. So when you cannot establish that line of scrimmage, you can't run the ball. You can win shootout games like this. You can win some shootout games like this. There's going to be teams that are going to get suckered into that with Colorado, and that's exactly what happened with TCU. They got suckered into running a race with them that they weren't going to be able to run. They weren't going to be able to win. There's going to be other teams that are good enough in the line of scrimmages that are going to take away that run, they're good enough to take away some of the things you want to do in the passing game and then begin to collapse that pocket defensively. Offensively, all right, once again, 260 rush yards given up by Colorado to TCU, who actually took their foot off the gas in terms of actually running the ball. Had they slowed that game down a little bit and continued to stick with the run game, you know, you're talking about now taking more air out of the ball. You're taking more possessions away from that high-powered offense. Another thing I want to point out is Colorado has 5 or 6 like dogs on that team, right? I mean, guys that are at the wide receiver position. Obviously, they got the USF transfer, who is really, really good. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he was good. Their running back looked really good, catching the ball out of the backfield, not running it. Shedeur, ball out quickly, making good reads, and then Travis Hunter. My question is are you going to be able to play Travis Hunter for 129 snaps every game? 129 snaps is what he got, right? If he gets dinged up, if he gets tired, God forbid he gets out, you know, for a game or two, what does that do to the composition of your team at this point? Colorado still does not have the depth to go next man up. So that's really my question. When you look at this schedule, is Nebraska going to get suckered into that shootout style ball with TCU that TCU played? No, they're not built that way. They're built more for the run. And I think that they can do some things that could give Colorado a really frustrating night. Not to mention Nebraska's in wounded animal mode right now, coming off of that close, hard-fought loss against Minnesota. And what I've seen out of Nebraska defensively is a damn sight better than what they saw against TCU. Colorado State, they'll win. They'll win Colorado State. They will. They'll absolutely. And they'll probably fucking drag them. Like, let's be honest. Okay. They'll beat Colorado State at home. Then they got to take a trip to Eugene, Oregon. Okay. Look, check it out. They're going to lose that game. They're going to lose that game, and they're going to get beat up in the process. All right. I think this is where you start taking some of those nagging injuries, some of the physicality of playing a team like that on the road. I think that's where you start to get your depth tested a little bit. Okay. Maybe they do throw in the kitchen sink. And again, it's another day where Travis Hunter's taking 120 plus snaps. It's going to be tough on him, right? Then you play USC. USC, you know, if they shore up a little bit defensively, make more splash plays, take some possessions away from Colorado, you know, that's more of that high scoring affair back and forth. But I mean, look, Shedeur really impressed in a sample size of one game. There's a guy by the name of Caleb Williams on that USC squad that has impressed multiple times in those types of games. Very comfortable playing those kinds of games. So I think they do take a loss there. Then they got to take a trip to Arizona State. I do believe that that's more toss-up territory, given that you're coming off of 2 very hard-fought physical games that I think are going to be 2 very hard-fought physical losses. I don't know if they're 100% healthy going into that game. Then they got to go on the road. So that's toss-up territory for me. I do believe they'll beat Stanford. UCLA is a team that popped on film to me the other night. Looks like they finally figured out how to play some defense. Dante Moore at quarterback. The Pac-12 is so fucking loaded with quarterbacks right now. It's blowing my mind. But that is a kid that I think takes UCLA to another level. And on the road at UCLA, I think they take a loss there. Again, Oregon State's physicality and how fundamentally sound they are on both sides of the ball. I think they're going to drag, Colorado into like a slow composure game, like a pressure cooker game. I don't think they're really quite ready for that. I see them taking another loss. I do see them beating Arizona, but by this time deeper in the season, once again, it's the depth thing. And then at Washington State will be tough, and at Utah, I think they get dominated. So I personally think that it's a 4-8 season for Colorado, but silver lining, Coach Prime's going to always hit the silver lining on this one. That's 4 times the wins that they had last year. So it doesn't mean that it's a disaster season for Colorado if they go 4-8. I just don't fucking buy when people are like, they're going to be 9-3, 10-2. They're going to play for the Pac-12 championship. Why? Because they fucking beat a TCU team that replaced 23 or lost 23 people last year. Like 23 super seniors are not on that squad anymore. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm going to hold judgment on that one and stick to my guns on that one. It's it's a great win for Coach Prime and the momentum and all that, but it's not the most fucking impressive thing I've ever seen.
I can respect that. So I'm clicking over to week 2. We're about to get into that portion, but before we do, can you talk to me about my Hurricanes a little bit?